U.S. military says first aid shipment has been driven across a newly built U.S. pier into the Gaza Strip.
Here's a summary of the article.
Washington. Trucks carrying badly needed aid for the Gaza Strip rolled across a newly built U.S. pier and into the besieged enclave for the first time Friday as Israeli restrictions on border crossings and heavy fighting hindered the delivery of food and other supplies. UN and aid groups warn that the floating pier project is not a substitute for land deliveries that could bring in all the food, water and fuel needed in Gaza. Troops finished installing the floating pier on Thursday, and the U.S. military's Central Command said the first aid crossed into Gaza at 9 a.m. Friday. Israel fears Hamas will use fuel in the war, but it asserts it places no limits on the entry of humanitarian aid and blames the UN for delays in distributing goods entering Gaza. Israel recently seized the Rafah border crossing in its push against Hamas around that city on the Egyptian border, raising fears about civilian safety while also cutting off the main entry for aid into the Gaza Strip. The boatloads of aid will be deposited at a port facility built by the Israelis just southwest of Gaza City. The aid for the sea route is collected and inspected in Cyprus, then loaded onto ships and taken about 200 miles to the large floating pier off the Gaza coast.
This post received a score of 9,100, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
It's absolutely insane at how fast this was built.
U.S. logistics remains undefeated.
I remember being deployed to Iraq, specifically at Balad B. One of my first days there, I looked around from the control tower and was blown away by how the U.S. built and sustained such a massive base.
Dude, we get Wi-Fi, cell phones, video games, mail, rather quickly, snacks, and American products in hostile environments. We can set up internet, comms, medical tents, etc. in the middle of nowhere in hours. Some countries can't even move that shit in country.
Russia still treats pallets as unknown technology.
They're loading up 10 tons of munitions in trucks with wooden beds. No one does logistics better than the DOD.
No one's slick as DOD. No one's quick as DOD. No one's necks as incredibly thick as DOD.
DOD eats eggs for sure.
DOD be like, what could a dozen eggs cost? 50 feet 000?
What you mean is, what would a dozen fresh eggs cost to airdrop into the most remote location we can find? While people shoot at us.
The Mulberry Mk2.
Didn't those take like 72 hours to get operational?
Less than 2 weeks for both harbors to be fully built and operational after D-Day. D-Day plus 12 IRC. Not quite 72 hours, but given what was going on at the time, still absolutely insane levels of logistics and engineering.
Conservatives, proof Biden loves Hamas. Progressives, it's not enough, still not voting for Biden. Trump, can we just drop a nuke on them?
Trump, grab Sharpie. World, oh shit, here we go again.
At this point I feel like progressives want a tyrant like Trump back in office so they can play victim when said tyrant just shits all over progressive policies and issues.
Kinda. They are called accelerationists.
So they want scorched earth to rule the ashes.
Kinda. On the left, it's vaguely a Marxist thing where the people will more readily discard capitalism when capitalism is brought to its purest form. Best way to get there is to support the right-wing nutters. On the right, they tend to want those same goals, plus religio-ethnic purity, and do so by political purity tests. It's how the GOP keeps marching rightward.
Hey everyone, this is good by the way. Ignore what the Iranian propagandists on TikTok are lying to you about. Feeding the hungry is better than not feeding the hungry, plain and simple.
My main concern is what we do when, not if but when, Hamas attacks this.
Hamas already attempted to attack this? So? Hamas shelling an entry point for humanitarian aid? Interesting.
They don't want to lose favor, whatever that amount is, with their citizens. Only we will give you aid.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.